So you're probably wondering, why is there a rusty old Ford? Well, that's why. This is an 83, I believe, with a Perkins diesel in it. Factory. So, story is that there was fuel in the coolant. And I thought maybe injector cups, but injector cups really don't come until the higher, the common rail setups, because the injectors get so hot, they use coolant to cool the injectors. This, I don't think is that situation, and I don't think there is fuel going in the coolant. I think that there was some oil or whatever in the coolant, and it needs to be flushed out well. There's also water in the fuel, and that means it's not running. And we thought the owner thought that maybe those were related, but there is no relation between the two. There's a fuel separator as soon as it gets out of the tank, and that's it. Now the truck is kind of rough, and I haven't heard it run. I'm gonna take some time to try and get it running. If I can't get it running, then that's where we stop, because it's an old truck, and it's a cool truck, but it's 45 miles to the gallon, and all the 59 horsepower out of that little Perkins. I think it has a Mazda Miata 5-speed behind it, which the transmission is being held on by a broken bungee cord right now. The mount, well, it needs some work, and it's not really worth paying somebody like me to do it, but I thought it was kind of cool. We'll spend a little bit of time on it. We won't get into it too deep. So start by pulling the fuel tank and dropping the fuel, and cleaning out that water separator, put a new fuel filter on it. As you saw in the opening, the injector's already out. You're gonna test the injectors, and then the only reason I pulled the injectors first was to pressure test the cooling system, see if that coolant was going down. It held pressure for a week, so no issues there. So we're gonna pull the tank. I'm not gonna videotape that because I'm gonna be swearing a little bit, because the truck is 35 years old and in Ontario, and nice and rusty. Perkins did a nice job of lubricating the engine, but it's not like a Cummins where it's all over the entire truck. So let's drop the tank. Here we go. Of course, the tank is full. It gets 45 miles to the gallon, so yeah, it's full. All right, so the guy that bought this truck didn't know a lot of the history on the truck. When he went to go buy it, he said that the truck was running. When he got there, he couldn't get the truck to run, but he bought it anyway. So I like mechanics because it's like a puzzle. So you kind of got to walk through the steps. And like, okay, so what happened? What do you know? And what do you need to find out? Well, it's not running. So the customer said that there was fuel in the coolant and coolant in the fuel. So to get it running, I would just disconnect the lines from the fuel tank and run 2 lines into a jerry can, prime it, and start it. But I wanted to see if there was any water in the diesel that was in there. Now, there wasn't. This looks really good. It's been sitting for a while. There's no droplets anywhere. The water would settle on the bottom, but if you look really carefully, you could still see them. And I've taken a couple pails out already, and I could see that it was a nice steady stream. I smell it, feels good, it feels like diesel, all good stuff. Now, this is the fuel filter, and you can tell it hasn't been changed in a while because it's rusty, so we know that. Now we're going to pour a little bit into a can and kind of see what's going on. I need a black pail, but do you see the difference? Yeah. Now if I feel it, and I smell it, this isn't sliding near as nice as what was in the pail, and it smells different. It smells like gas to me. So I think somebody ran it low, put gas in it, realized his mistake, didn't know how to fix it, and then filled the entire tank with diesel to try and make up for it, but couldn't get it running in the meantime. So there's a really simple way to see if it is gas, actually. Before I met my lovely wife, I dated a nurse, and it was funny. I was talking to her, she was going through for schooling, and I said, you know what, our jobs are exactly the same, except I fix equipment and you fix people. And you have it easier because the customers come in and they say, it hurts here, or it hurts here, or it hurts here, or this is leaking my fingers. See, my equipment comes in and tells me squat. I'd love it for that little truck to say, oh, what's wrong, little Ranger? Well, some friggin' dumbass put gas in me. Now my injection pump hurts and my injectors hurt because they haven't been lubricated properly. That's my diagnosis so far. Let's keep going. All right, so you gotta fill your filter with diesel before you spin it back on again. If you can, fill your oil and your fuel filters around the outside, the small little holes. That way that fuel coming out of the jerry can still gets filtered. Got our jerry can jerry-rigged up into this lift pump. So we're eliminating that water separator, just running good fuel. We got the pump is working fine, so that's our little bleeder. We can close that. We'll pump it a little bit more. We'll crack some injector lines and we'll use the nice fresh battery, turn it over, see if this puppy will start. I can hear it dumping out the return. We're getting fuel. Here we go. Alright, I got fuel there. It's not even trying to spit or sputter. No smoke yet. First things you gotta get rid of are these things. A wing nut on your battery clamp is not a good idea. Ever. Alright, try a little bit of go-go juice. Well, it's running, but it's making some noises I don't like. I thought I'd tip it upside down and drain the fuel. Welcome to Canada. Needs a lot of work, I think. Time to make a phone call. Okay, so this is the water separator, and it actually has a cable that runs up into the cab if it was connected. It runs all the way up into the cab, so behind the cab you can open this and you can control the dust in your driveway by dumping the water and the fuel out of the fuel separator. Welcome to 1982 emissions. So because it's broken, I cracked this loose, and then because this was clogged solid, I blew with my air hose and caught most of it. But it's empty now, so we'll bleed it at the front there again, pull some good fresh fuel in there after we put some fuel into the tank. Tank is back up. Never a bad idea to throw in some fuel additives just to help lubricate that. You never know what happens with that pump, so anything's better than nothing. Is my face dirty? I'm sweating a lot. Is it dirty? On a diesel, they said. That'd be good for the environment, they said. I think this one needs a good run down the road. Sounds not bad. Sounds better now, actually. So, that's actually all I'm doing for this truck. It's a fixer-upper. It doesn't make sense for someone to pay a shop rate to work on it. This truck is perfect for a first-time vehicle owner to work on, to practice on, to get used to wrenching, to figure out things one at a time, to get used to hunting down parts that are very hard to find, and learn all about mechanics in the meantime. I just had to get it running, make sure that there was nothing major going on with coolant going into the fuel and fuel going into the coolant. Sounds okay. I think we'll air up the tires, probably take it for a little road test, and kind of want to see what 59 horsepower and a little range it feels like. done with it. Okay, so that tank needs a little looking at because it's rusty and old. I didn't want to pull the sending unit out of it because it was rusty and fragile. Got it running again. The lines look great, but what's happening is it's sucking air from somewhere. So I don't, what it could be is a crack in the, maybe a pinhole in the pickup tube inside the tank. So I got to take this out and bleed it. I threw another 10 liters in there, and that's one of those costs that, like, you hear the air. Not so good. There it is. There's the fuel. Lots of fuel, and then it's a steady stream. So I'm thinking there's an issue in the tank. We're gonna try and go for a drive in it. This is one of those costs that you forget about by dumping fuel in there. That fires right up. Sounds good. At the end of the day, this is still just a 83, 35-year-old pickup. It needs attention. So this is perfect again for somebody to start out with and learn about the trade and fix it up as you go. Polish up the rims, clean it up underneath, replace the fuel lines, everything, all that fun stuff. But to pay somebody like me, it's not gonna make any sense whatsoever. So I got it running. We're gonna take it for a little drive. We're gonna fill up the tank, and hopefully that gets rid of that crack in the line, that it won't stall. And then it's off to whoever wants to fix it up. So here we go. Look who's here. Stefan, it's like a stranger. I haven't seen you for like 3 weeks. They like to really screw with you rather than putting the hood latch release in the same spot in each one.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Well, just go the opposite way.
and sometimes you push, sometimes you pull, left, right. It keeps Ford exciting.
That's cool. It's like we're in Cuba.
Yeah.
Like they put this in everything.
59 horsepower and 45 miles to the gallon.
So is this shifted interests truck?
He did a Kubota swap in this, but no, this is an 83, and they came factory with a Perkins.
With the Perkins?
Yeah. And
I want it. Like, that's awesome. You don't even have to swap it. They did it for you.
Yeah. I think the transmission's out of a Miata, so I gotta ask him. I have to ask. But 83, 84 came with the Perkins, and then they went 85, 86 was Mitsubishi diesel,
okay.
And then they scrapped the diesel altogether.
That's so cool. Why isn't everybody driving one of these?
Because they 45 miles to the gallon, and the government hates that because they want their taxes on fuel.
And they pollute the environment very badly,
They
probably.
pollute very badly. Right, so what's the story on the truck?
So, 1983 Ranger diesel. I saw it on Kijiji for sale. The guy had it posted as a gas. There's no way you can actually find it if you typed in 1983 Ranger. But I found it after searching for a long time. I talked to him. He goes, yeah, it runs. It's great. I got to his place. It didn't run. Barely ran. It pissed water out of the water pump. So I had to get that done. He ended up driving it home to my place with the trailer. I wanted a reliable daily driver, and I bought the furthest thing from it.
My first truck was an S10,
Yeah.
and if I was 16 and I grabbed this truck, I'd probably be a Ford buff right now. Because it's a simple truck, but it's still an old Ontario truck, right?
Yeah. This is an awesome vehicle.
Yeah.
This is a great project, and it's definitely worth to put in the time and money into it.
Yeah.
It's clean. Somebody clearly loved it before I owned it. So, absolutely, but no, not for what I.
Not for you. All right.
Unfortunately, not. But
Okay. So we'll put Teddy's link in the description if you want to get a hold of him. But I think there's actually somebody coming tomorrow.
there's a lot
already.
of people interested, but yeah, I mean, if it falls through, absolutely, it's for sale. I'm not really looking to make any money on it. Just get back whatever I paid.
It's not.
For it.
It's not what. Anyway, let's take it for a drive.
Yeah, let's go.
So the transmission is.
The transmission is, my suspicion is from either an Miata MX-5 or an RX-7, because you can see the lever is way down there.
Yeah.
For these is way up here.
Right.
And since the 2.2 Perkins is originally a Mazda engine, since an '83 Ford Mazda, that's what they did. They were partners in crime. So The bell housing actually fits to an MX-5 or an RX-7 transmission. This is a 5-speed. Originally, they're a 4-speed.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
somebody definitely swapped it, and I think that's what they swapped it with.
59 horsepower.
Yeah, from the factory, it's more like 29 now. Yeah.
That's not terrible.
No. I mean, for the size of truck too, look, 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
These trucks are really famous for not going past 100 kilometers an hour from the factory with the 4-speed. So that's why whoever owned this before me had the 5-speed in there, so you can actually get the highway speeds. The last owner before me that owned it told me there is 500,000 kilometers on it. I don't know if that's true or not. I'd have to maybe reference like a used car report, whatever that might look like. But that's what he claimed.
I think we're sucking some air.
Yeah, probably. Is it gurgling a lot?
Yeah, there it goes. The tank does need a little bit of work. And I think the pickup tube might be cracked inside the tank.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to pull the filler neck off. So we got a little bit of air. Just bleed it, take it back home again.
Oh, no worries, yeah. It's good for 20 kilometers.
Yeah. A Ford by the side of the road. That's weird.
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, Ford.
Oh, yeah, just a little bleeder.
Yeah, just
oh,
a
you should
bleeder.
put something in there, too.
Oh, yeah. There's some residue there.
From oil?
Oil. Yeah, right on the exhaust.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what that smell is.
There's a line right there that's kinked a little bit. You just have to replace it, not a big deal. But
Yeah.
yeah, the other stuff is things like this. Like this is a clothes hanger that's holding something very vital inches away from the exhaust. That's not the way that I would execute that, but hey, you know, if you have to hit the road.
Yeah, that's right. That's one of these things where I just got to get to where I'm going, and you hit a point in your vehicles where one thing breaks and then you leave it, and then another thing breaks and then you stop caring. Like kind of like the first dent in your truck.
Yeah.
Where you're like
right.
the first one, get so upset, you fix it, you pay it. The next one, you're like, screw it.
See if we make it home.
You came with a trailer too, right?
Right. Come on now.
There goes. There goes.
Hey.
Trusty diesel.
No, dashes, man. Like
Yeah, like the
everything
interior is
works.
super clean. Like half a million kilometers in this seat.
If
And
you're
it's,
right.
and it's clean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Somebody did new floors on it as well. Patching the transmission tunnel. Looks like a yield sign or a kilometer sign. I don't know. Yeah.
I kind of love this truck.
Same, I do. I'm gonna be really sad to let it go, and I wish I could keep it, but we got a fan.
Got a whole bunch of black shit coming out.
What's that?
Everybody loves this.
Everybody loves this truck.
That's too funny.
I think he's talking about the smoke, though.
Yeah. He's like, those gas ones aren't supposed to smoke like that. The fans work. I've got cars from the 90s that don't have this. This is luxury.
Yeah.
And I wish it would go to somebody else that would continue loving it, because it is worth saving and it is worth...
Yeah, I have to agree. Well, thanks, Teddy.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, glad we
Appreciate
got it running.
Absolutely.
And it's not that serious. There is no coolant going into your fuel, no fuel going into your coolant. You gotta flush the system. But
New tank, time and love, and it should be good to go. Absolutely.
thanks, Teddy.
Yeah, man.